Consider the profound paradox. The instrument we're using to comprehend the universe's most complex object is that very object itself, the human brain, studying the human brain. We are a collection of cells trying to understand what it means to be a collection of cells. This isn't just a map, this is a journey into the architecture of thought, the mechanics of emotion, and the fabric of consciousness. Let's begin our descent into the inner cosmos. Part 1. The hardware. The physical substrate of your entire reality. Cradled within your skull is a universe of its own. It weighs about 1.4 kilograms, a soft mass that you could hold in your hands. Yet, its humble appearance belies an almost unfathomable power. This organ, just 2% of your body weight, is a voracious consumer of power, burning roughly 20% of your body's total energy. While you sit still, your brain is running a biological metropolis, demanding more fuel than your muscles during a marathon. This is the cost of generating your conscious reality. Inside this electrochemical furnace are the primary actors, about 86 billion neurons. That's as many stars as there are in our corner of the Milky Way galaxy, each a sophisticated biological processor. These neurons are linked by an estimated 100 trillion connections called synapses. This number is staggering, more connections in a single brain than there are stars in 1,000 galaxies. It is in this vast, intricate web that the magic truly happens. Neurons communicate using a binary language of electricity and chemistry. When a neuron receives enough input, it fires. A tiny voltage spike, an action potential, races down its axon at speeds up to 120 meters per second. It's an all-or-nothing event, a definitive yes in a universe of maybes. But when this electrical signal reaches the end of the line, it transforms. At the synapse, neurons don't touch. They talk chemically across a microscopic gap, releasing specialized molecules called neurotransmitters. Some, like glutamate, are the brain's on switch, telling the next neuron to get excited. Others, like GABA, are the off switch, calming the network and allowing for precision. Then there are the modulators, the chemicals that color our experience. Dopamine isn't just about pleasure, it's the molecule of motivation, driving us to seek, to learn, and to desire. It tells us what's worth paying attention to. Serotonin helps regulate mood, sleep, and appetite. It provides a sense of well-being and emotional stability, acting as a master regulator of the entire system. But neurons are not the whole story. Outnumbering them, we find the supporting cells, the glia, the forgotten heroes of the brain. Astrocytes are the master caretakers, feeding neurons and tuning communication. Oligodendrocytes provide critical insulation, myelin, to dramatically speed up signals. And microglia act as the brain's dedicated immune system, its vigilant guardians ensuring the delicate machinery remains pristine. Part 2. The layout. If neurons are the citizens, this is the map of the metropolis, a geography of function forged by millions of years of evolution. The most prominent feature is the cortex, the iconic, wrinkly, outer sheet. This is the seat of our higher cognitive functions, perception, planning, and language. Its folded structure is a brilliant evolutionary solution to pack an enormous surface area into a compact skull. At the back, the occipital lobe is dedicated to vision, constructing the world you see. Along the sides, the temporal lobes are crucial for hearing, understanding language, and forming new memories. Above them, the parietal lobe integrates sensory information, creating a map of the world so you can navigate through space. And finally, the frontal lobe, the brain's executive suite. This is where you plan, make decisions, and regulate behavior. It is the seat of your personality. Buried deep within are ancient structures. The hippocampus is the master memory maker, converting fleeting moments into lasting memories. Nearby, the amygdala is the brain's emotional alarm system, stamping experiences with emotional salience. The thalamus is a grand central station for sensory information, directing it to the cortex. The basal ganglia are critical for action selection and habit formation, turning intentions into smooth, automatic actions. The cerebellum, or little brain, fine-tunes movement and thought, ensuring both are smooth and coordinated, and connecting it all to the body is the brainstem, controlling the absolute essentials, breathing, heartbeat, and the switch that determines if you are awake or asleep. Part 3. The software. The hardware is astonishing, but it's the operating principles, the software, that bring it to life. This is where the brain becomes the mind. Crucially, the brain isn't a passive camera. It's an active, dynamic prediction machine. It constantly builds a model of the world and runs simulations of the future. What you perceive as reality is the brain's best guess of what's out there. It makes a prediction, compares it to incoming sensory data, and uses any mismatch or prediction error to update its model. Surprise is simply the feeling of your model being corrected. This updating is possible because the brain is not fixed. Learning physically tweaks the connections between neurons. This is neuroplasticity. When neurons fire together, they wire together. Every skill you learn, every memory you form, is etched into your brain's physical structure. This plasticity allows for the automation of behavior. When you first learn something, it requires immense, slow, and effortful control from your prefrontal cortex. But with practice, the brain rewires itself. The task is offloaded to fast, automatic loops in the basal ganglia. Habits are, quite literally, neural pathways paved by repetition. Even your decisions are not made by a single unified you. They are the result of a constant high-speed negotiation among competing neural populations, each with its own agenda. This competition is biased by your high-level goals, by past rewards, and by context. The intention to get a drink of water will bias the neural debate. The release of dopamine reinforces pathways that led to a positive outcome, and the same choice might be evaluated differently in a library versus at a party. Part 4. Upkeep. A system this complex and energy-intensive requires constant, sophisticated maintenance. Much of this critical work happens when you are completely unaware. Sleep is not downtime, it's essential maintenance. During sleep, your brain replays and consolidates important memories, transferring them to long-term storage. It also intelligently prunes weaker connections to conserve energy. And the glymphatic system becomes 10 times more active, flushing out metabolic byproducts before they can cause damage. Active upkeep is just as vital. Movement boosts blood flow, delivering fresh oxygen and nutrients. It also raises levels of crucial growth factors like BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. This molecule is like fertilizer for your neurons, promoting growth, connection, and resilience. Finally, there's the management of attention. To focus on a task, your brain must engage specific networks while suppressing others. And when your mind wanders, a different network takes over, the default mode network. This is your brain's screensaver. But it's not idle. It's busy simulating future possibilities, reflecting on the past, and maintaining your sense of self. So how does the brain work? How does this wet biological hardware give rise to the immaterial world of the mind? Electricity encodes information with digital precision. Chemistry modulates that information with analog richness. Structure constrains the possibilities, channeling thought along pathways carved by evolution. And experience refines that structure, personalizing the machine to its unique history. It's a living, predictive model of the world, a universe within, constantly updating itself not just to survive, but to make meaning out of the chaos. And the coolest part? The most profound implication of it all? Every time you learn something new, even right now by understanding this, the physical map of your brain rewires. The hardware changes the software, and the software changes the hardware. You are not the same person you were 10 minutes ago. The map is now slightly better, slightly more complex than before.